99.3 Nigeria Info. Good morning to you, Lagos. Welcome to the second part of Dailies. Today we are live from our audio-visual studios on Etimi and Christian Victoria Island. I'm Sheriff Quadry, and you're most welcome to join us.
I'm Jimi Disu. Good morning, everybody.
Oh, yes, you can watch us on Facebook and on YouTube. Nigeria Info 99.3 is how you can watch this show online. Facebook, YouTube. On Facebook, please like our page on Facebook so that Facebook can send you notification once we are live. Detail YouTube, subscribe to our channel there so you get notified once we are live. Let's begin. Page 5, Daily Trust newspaper. As expected, I know quite a number of people have been expecting this. Lawyers, CSOs knock Wike over altercation with soldiers.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
We thank God that he put it in Wike's mind to always go around with pressmen, or else we would have missed this entirely. And only God knows how the story would have gone if there were no visual evidence. Now, you will remember that Captain Blades has been here a couple of times, and he has always talked about the new set or the new kind of officers that Nigeria has in its military. The officers are young, they're intelligent, they're well-trained. 25 years ago, it's highly unlikely that the incidents would have gone that far yesterday. But I give that officer's kudos for standing his ground. Whatever could have happened, you don't go and tell an officer, or anybody for that matter, even if he's a civil servant, that you're a fool. And the guy calmly said, I'm not a fool. I also like when the young man said to him, I am an officer, so I have integrity. I do not lose sight of that status. You need to look at that video again and again and again and again. Sit back and think properly. Then you will know that that video itself, the whole incident itself, is like some divine wake-up call for those, for Nigerians, especially those in power. Now, the gentleman has become the face. He has become the face of the military, somewhat, in this saga that we have. Wike behaved very badly, and I have said over and over again, I hope he does not become the undoing of the president. And this incident that happened yesterday has to be treated with a lot of caution. Most people are waiting to see how the president is going to handle this issue, and he has to react to it. It's not. You can't dismiss it as another. Look, as at yesterday, let me read what has been credited to the former Chief of Army Staff, Buratai. It says, urgent action required as Wike's conduct poses a clear threat to national security. The events of November 11, 2025 involving Wike demand an immediate and serious response. His public disparagement of a uniformed officer of the Nigerian Armed Forces transcends mere conduct. It represents a palpable threat to national security and institutional integrity. A minister's verbal assault on a military officer in uniform is an act of profound indiscipline that strikes at the core of our nation's command and control structure. It deliberately undermines the chain of command, disrespects the authority of the commander-in-chief, and grievously wounds the morale of every individual who serves under the Nigerian flag. Such actions erode the very foundation of discipline upon which our national security apparatus stands. This cannot be dismissed as political theater. It is a reckless endangerment of national order. This action by Wike is clearly an indication of undermining the federal government's authority. Consequently, Barrister Wike must render an immediate and unequivocal public apology to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as Commander-in-Chief, the entire armed forces of Nigeria, and the specific officer whose honor was violated. This is coming from a former chief of army staff. Supposedly, it's credited to him. It's even in one or two papers. So I can safely say he wrote it. And national security must confess it is time for decisive action, not politics of military batting. The integrity of our armed forces demands nothing less. It's credited to him. Even if he didn't write it, it makes a lot of sense. And again, like Captain Blade was, our politicians have to be very, very careful. What was the whole hula baloo about? A retired vice admiral is laying claim to the land, is putting up a structure. He sent soldiers there to guard them because people from Wike's, from the FCT, were harassing his people. All Wike needed to have done is just write a strong, a quiet memo to the chief of naval staff and report the incident to him. In fact, he could have done it by telephone. He didn't need to go there himself. He didn't need to go with the paraphernalia he didn't need to go there with the whole rabble that he went with. And Wike's public conduct over and over again by now should have been a big embarrassment to the president. Here is this a public officer who was asked in public by the media, you drive a Rolls Royce at this time of austerity and so on and so forth. You are driving a Rolls Royce. Can you explain? His first reaction, which was an insult to the public, brazen as it is, he said, and so what? Some people attributed some divine intervention to all this, and to say that the political class have to be very, very careful. Very, very careful. First, there was a rumor of coup. Then there was the issue of Trump, and then this. And I would like to advise the president to quickly de-escalate the situation by doing the right thing and putting this man on the sacrificial whatever and sacrifice him. If this issue is not taken up properly, I don't want to imagine what will happen. Because this gentleman now has become a face. They even have emojis made of him, you know. Mm-hmm. He has become a face. And the young people of this country have found a face in the military that they can idolize. I mean, look at the fact that the tall man is clean, is handsome, is whatever, is well-spoken, very firm, but not rude. I've got to go and call somebody a fool. And the guy said, I'm not a fool, sir. But what I found most profound in all that scenario was when the guy said, I have integrity. I'm a uniformed soldier, I have integrity. Is he implying that the minister don't have integrity? Remember that this soldier is just like you and I. He has access to all the rumors, true or false, all the criticisms, true or false. He is just like you and I. He has everything. He's not from another planet. And he also now probably has his own views politically, like most young people. All said and done, I hope the president addresses this thing very quickly. I would advise maybe he should even reassign the gentleman or just let him go. It's up to him.
Okay, it's up to him.
What do you think?
About Wike's situation?
Yeah.
I think what you think. Let's go to why do that?
I haven't said anything.
Okay.
When I asked you what you think, and you said to think what I think.
Everything that you have said.
I'm trying to process it. Are you trying to clone my brain?
No.
Or you think what I've said is arrant nonsense that let this man stew in his own shoes, on his own.
Everything you have said. Everything you have said. Let's go to page 6 of the Daily Trust newspaper. China, EU, Russia. Which other stories are we looking at?
Yes.
Okay. China, EU, Russia won't fight US because of Nigeria, Professor Akinyemi.
Yes. Okay. So one of the authorities we have on external affairs is Professor Akinyemi. He's one of the experienced people at that level. And what he's saying is that, look, in spite of the fact that you have China, EU, Russia, taking on Trump to say that, look, we don't think what you're doing is right, and so on and so forth. We shouldn't think any further that if things get to a head, they would necessarily back you militarily. He says it won't happen. He says that the reality of global power politics makes it unlikely for any country to confront Washington militarily on behalf of Nigeria. He was speaking in yesterday in Arise TV, in one of their programs. He explained that some elements within the security forces have been accused of leaking intelligence to terrorists, and he recalled how a planned U.S.-assisted rescue mission for the Chibok girls under President Jonathan was aborted after Boko Haram operatives appeared with gas masks, evidence that someone had tipped them off. He said such incidents had eroded international confidence in Nigeria's military and intelligence systems, warning that the country must clean up its own house before expecting respect or support from global powers. On the allegation of genocide, the former minister said it was unhelpful to reduce Nigerians' killing to religion. He said Nigerians, both Christians and Muslims, are victims of mindless violence, and what mattered most was ending the killings. He said, if you live in the Middle Belt and say there's no genocide, then you don't know what you're talking about. He said, Christians are being killed by non-Christians, and Muslims are being killed by non-Muslims. You want to read something there?
No, not stop.
Okay, so that's the import of what I said. I'm sorry, let me quickly. Also, there's a story by the side related to it, and the information minister is glad to inform us that diplomatic channels are working effectively. He had an interview with the UK-based Sky News program yesterday. That's our information minister. You know, it's in the UK as part of the delegation to go and see how they can bring Ekweremadu back home.
Yes.
Why we need a delegation to do that, I don't know, but that's a story for another day.
Maybe it's to show how important he is to Nigeria. Let's go back to Daily Trust. We have this front page story here. No going back on convention, PDP.
PDP, the PDP is in a very bad shape. Again, Wike's name surfaces here. And yesterday there was a court order that said that they cannot continue with their convention. But the PDP, they're blowing hot and cold. They're huffing and puffing and saying that the latest court ruling stopping the convention was a waste of time, insisting that the party was guided by a subsisting Supreme Court judgment affirming that political parties have exclusive authority over their internal affairs. One of the fears that I have for the PDP is that if care is not taken, going to court today, appeal court tomorrow, Supreme Court today, by the time that is over, they won't even be in a position to present any candidate for the election. And I think that, amongst others, that could be one of the reasons why a lot of the some of the governors are why they are shifting over to the APC. But I hope that when the history of this country is being told, it will not be that the governors had been blackmailed. In a situation in Yoruba, what we call Owore Enwore. That here is cash and here's that you either join us and or we will lay you, and this is what is likely to happen to you. And like Fela was saying, maybe they don't open book for them. And there's hardly any public officer at that level who can say that he has no question to answer. If I remember that damn David West, with his, he had this air that of being non-corrupt and so on and so forth. They still threw him in jail because of a wristwatch. You remember Tam David West?
Of course.
He went to jail because of the wristwatch. So that's what is. The papers are full. No going back on convention. Ambition legal battle stall PDP convention 13-2027 prospects. It has been said the history of all the PDP travels, which I don't think we want to bother ourselves with as such this morning. I think what is on the front burner is this. There's also another story here in the Daily Trust, issues over PDP National Convention. But I think what should be significant on our minds is how we proceed with the issue of this military man that was insulted in uniform yesterday by a minister. It is very, very crucial. And it could lay the foundation for something sinister if care is not taken. And I say it with all sense of responsibility. Some people feel that these things need to be told. If you look at what has happened in other countries, the Gen Zs, I said, Professor, Captain Blade warned seriously about the Gen Zs, that they will not tolerate, they would rather die than see Nigeria go into a complete mess. So let's see how the government handles this.
How do you think the military should handle it?
The military will sit and wait. Because what I'm seeing is that even the officers would have been surprised at that young man. They've trained them, yes, but they'll be surprised. They'll be proud of him on the one hand, but it's also a wake-up call for them. The days when you used to call officers zombie, and Fela, those days are gone. For somebody who grew up in a military situation, if it had been many, many years ago, it might not have happened. You could have had, yes, sir. But the caliber of officers you have now is reflected in that young man. I was look at how he stood tall, how he comported himself, how the most of the ranting was done by the minister. The minister pushed some people. You saw the video now. So there are two versions. There's a longer one. Yeah. And it was the minister that was rattling. He just stood there coolly and said, I have my instructions. I'm going to stand by them. There was no need. How can a minister be involved in land issues directly in that manner? If you sent your people there and there was a problem, you pick up your phone and call the chief of... In fact, you could have even called the guy. Okay? Or called the chief of naval staff. And they would then give the order to the guys to evacuate the place. I think the gentleman might lose the land eventually, though.
Okay.
We're depending on what papers he has and all that. But the president should not ignore it. He should face it squarely, immediately. It's not something that should be allowed to linger, because if you look at the social media, that guy is becoming a hero. And there are certain things I won't say on air, but when I think of other countries, something there is, like Bob Marley said, there's a natural mystic flowing in the air. If you listen carefully, you will hear.
Some would say that the ministers are serving at the pleasure of the president. Would we say that Minister Wike was doing the same yesterday?
The president didn't send him to go and act in a disgraceful manner.
Oh, it was disgraceful?
It was disgraceful. The whole thing, because there was no need for him to get directly involved. Even if you got there, you could get there and call the officer aside and say, what's going on here? And the guy says that, blah, 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 blah. You say, okay, can you leave the place? And the guy says, no, okay, not to worry, I'll handle it. Then you call. It's so simple. It's so simple. If he had put on a call directly, he would have gotten a response. He said he called somebody, though. I don't know whatever that. I think he said he called the CDS. I don't know.
He called somebody right there at the scene. We don't know who he called.
We don't know who he called.
And he let the soldier
no.
also
He
speak
claimed that
the...
I think he called the CDS and they told him the matter will be resolved. When they have told you that the matter will be resolved, why didn't you just go back in your car? He wanted to prove a point, telling the guy how he was in when he was in
graduating.
The guy was in primary school. That you don't talk to a man in uniform like that. Oh my friend, you know, there's something sinister about watching like a live match or a live musical performance or a drama performance. You expect something to go wrong. That's the excitement of watching something live.
Yeah.
I was hoping. I forgot that I was watching the recording game. Oh no, they give away. Grab away. he lost his temper completely.
He lost it. He lost it.
And if he was,
He lost it.
if I'm sure that if it wasn't for the paraphernalia of whatever that he saw, he almost would have slapped the guy and tell him, "You're a fool. You're a fool. You don't talk to people."
So there's something that also stood out that I think a lot of us aren't paying or did not pay attention to, and that was how some members of his entourage, what they were saying to the military officer.
Well, it's part of the problem that we have. You find that most people's jobs are not protected, so they are not professional, so they can't do. So they have to show loyalty to him. How would you go back with him and say, you be DSS officer, couldn't you, you understand? So they too, but you can see, initially they were taken aback and they stood back. When they got up to a point, then one of the DSS people in the suit said, "This is a minister, you have to remind them." And the guy just told them firmly, "I have my instructions. I have my instructions." That guy is not going to walk away from that place because you said so. No way. We had it on very strong rumor, for example, during Buhari's time, that Rashibajo attended. He wanted to attend the meeting, and it was said at that time that, "Sorry, sir, your name is not on the list," and he just went away quietly. At the initial part of
meaning someone stopped the vice president.
Someone stopped the vice president, and he just JB, it's just like me. If they don't want me here, fine. That rumor was very strong, so he must have had some element of truth in it. But what is most important is that it cannot be thrown under the carpet. The guy has become a hero. He has become a symbol. And his other younger officers are watching.
Yes, they are. They watched.
They are going to watch that. If we because whether you like it or not, there must be some element of the soldiers, if care is not taken, quite a number of them must have some contempt for the way the political class has handled itself. When Blade was here the other day, he said it.
There's another angle to this as well.
Yes.
You would have to pardon us because this is quite big, it's quite huge. Is that Wike didn't just act like that. Wike acted because the military have sold themselves cheap to the politician.
I don't think so. I think what it is that the political class are digging their pit bit by bit. And like my brother called me late last night, he said, "Jimmy, you need to watch this thing carefully. There could be some divine intervention going on, like I said, the coup rumor, the Trump this. This is very significant. This is as bad as the coup rumor. Because Nigerians are anxious, either for good governance or a change. There seems to be an anxiety. Do you understand? That must be stated quite clearly. Nigerians are anxious. They want a better life. They want a better government. And they might look onto anywhere that they find to support their aspirations. So before this guy becomes more of a hero and becomes a symbol, the president should move in now and quell everything. So how would it happen? What can he do to quell it? I believe very strongly he has to give institutional support and sacrifice anybody who will make his life more reasonable. What's the word? Who would make his life more difficult politically. It's time to let this man go. He's everywhere, causing a lot of, even within the APC, they're fed up of him. Some of them have been able to tell me at the back end that they're all fed up of him.
Let's go to The Guardian. Gridlock paralyzes traffic on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway.
This is just, Sheriff, this was another one. And it says that motorists and commuters were stranded for several hours following a heavy gridlock on the Lagos, and this is Christmas. So look at the photographs there. So what happened? It says the gridlock left many motorists and passengers stuck, with some resorting to Okadas and so on and so forth. The Ogun State equivalent of LASMA said the traffic congestion during the Ember months was not unexpected. What have you then done Should we call on the Ogun State governor again and ask him what could have happened?
Let's just leave
Or
him.
let's just leave
Let's
him.
just leave him.
His time will soon be up.
Let's just leave him.
And who cannot say which university went to say the issues.
Let His Excellency be enjoying
Let
himself.
him enjoy himself.
Let's not bother him.
Party.
Let's not bother him. Now, I think
Sorry, our politicians don't have a sense of measurement.
right.
When you are a politician at the time like this, it's not a time for you getting involved in anything flamboyant. Having party with Sonny, another time he had a party in one island, and they were all enjoying themselves, all the big guns and so on and so forth. But the governance also faji. You take your time after you after your whatever, you can then get involved in whatever you want. These people don't understand these things. Governance is a sacrifice.
Right.
You must identify with your people. All this merry-making...
We have to go. Super Eagles officials boycott training over unpaid allowances.
Disgraceful.
Disgraceful. Akpabio walking a tightrope rather. Analysts, gunmen abduct 6 defense directors on Abuja Highway. These are the stories that...
but that's significant. 6 directors of the Ministry of Defense.
Let's go, Lagos. Let's go. He's back at 9 o'clock for Daily Digest. Stay here on Nigeria Info 99.3. Good morning to you, Lagos.
Just imagine, say this obodo was so when to communicate with your people no just day. Plus, where you no fit even shout for help. Business go dey jam like hold up for Oshodi, and family they find each other like needle for inside sand. Now waiting they happen to this every time they vandalize our telecom mast and fiber optic cable.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.